this series of presentations, I want to discuss together with you important topics in life, such as meaning and happiness. The reason I do this is because I believe that in the search for both, we make it too hard on ourselves by focusing on stuff we cannot control. I also believe that in the search for both, we do not need anything, no special talents, only the bit of knowledge that I want to share with you. And as such, I believe that everyone can do this, no exception. In this fifth presentation, I want to discuss ego. And I will start with a little story, and it is a story about myself. Wow. Once upon a time, I was looking at a picture. I came across it, and it wasn't a particularly nice picture. It was a picture of a concentration camp. And on this picture, they dug a deep hole, and with the aid of a bulldozer, they were pushing 1,000 corpses in this big and deep hole. And this picture, it made me feel uncomfortable. And I decided to investigate where this feeling came from. So, the first question to myself was it death or the amount of death on the picture that made you feel that uncomfortable? But it wasn't that, or not that directly. After asking myself a lot of questions and investigating further, I came to the answer. It wasn't their death as such, but it was the fact that their death was insignificant, unimportant, and pointless. They all died, 1,000 at a time, for absolutely nothing. And that thought sent shivers down my spine. Didn't they deserve better? I know that I deserve better than that. And I know this feeling, this uncomfortable feeling, because it pushes me. It drives me in life in a search for the opposite. Importance, specialness, and uniqueness. And that is what I call ego. The overestimation of our importance. And I do say our ego because I've noticed that not only I have this ego, but all other people do as well. But if we dare to investigate our importance objectively and rationally, it doesn't look particularly good. We are mammals. And nature basically has given us two assignments: survive and reproduce. But that's it. And that's nothing different from our cousins, the other mammals. Look at their cats and their dogs at home, or I have many pigs here at home. They have the same assignments: survive and reproduce, nothing more. They are not here to cure cancer. They are not here to solve the famine. Although my pigs could be of a one-time assistance there, other than that, they have no special assignment here. They're not here for a special reason. But if they are not here for a special reason, neither are we, because we are also just mammals. But our ego, it disagrees with that, because we are important, we are special, and we are unique. And we will get what we deserve. And that's now the third time I've used this word, deserve. Deserve. And this is everything, or this word embodies everything that ego wants, because we deserve a lot. Okay. If you come across this word, by the way, in your head, definitely sure it's an ego thought. I want to explain to you what ego does to us. And I will use, to explain it, an iceberg. This is an iceberg. You might have seen it. This is an iceberg. Okay, this is the water level. And above the water level is the tip of the iceberg, is the visible part, and that is what I call the visible ego. That's everything we use to emphasize our importance. Money, job titles, cars, houses. That's up there. But there's more, because we deserve more. We deserve, for example, a painless life. We deserve a stressless life, and we deserve happiness. That is all in the tip of the iceberg. But that is not the most dangerous part. That is not the part that made the Titanic sink. The dangerous part is below water. Because ego goes a lot deeper than just the visible bit, and it is a lot more destructive than that as well. Because whilst striving for the tip of the iceberg, we can't get there. We can't get there fast enough, or we just don't get enough of it. Yes? And basically, at any point in time, one of those three conditions is triggered, then ego does something very, very dangerous. And it will clamp to the obstacle. The obstacle which is in the way towards the tip of the iceberg. And this obstacle, this is not a small obstacle. No, small obstacles are for small and insignificant people. No, this is a big obstacle. A big obstacle for big and important people like us. If we cannot be special there, we will be special here with the most special object of the entire world. But this obstacle, of course, or the clamping to this obstacle, that is ego's plan B. What we actually want is in the tip of the iceberg. So this obstacle, it just hurts. It hurts us. And ego will now do something even more destructive. Because ego wants to soothe this pain. And in our importance and greatness, it is impossible for us to actually be the cause of this obstacle. No, that's impossible. So the cause of this obstacle will be appointed to an external object. Oh, and this external object can be anything. The weather, traffic, company, the colleagues, the policy, the government, whatever you can think of, that is the external object. And that is the cause of this obstacle. Now, this triangle of ego will close merciless. Because this external object, dear ladies and gentlemen, we don't deserve this. No, we don't deserve this. What we actually deserve is up there. But there's an obstacle in the way. And this obstacle, well, it hurts. Yes, it hurts. But we are not the cause of it. No, it's this external object which is the cause of it. But we don't deserve this. No, what we deserve is up there. But there's an obstacle in the way. And it hurts. And this is the way the triangle will go and go and go. Will introducing even more and more and more pain every time. This triangle is killing us. This is the triangle that is the biggest happiness killer of all times. This triangle makes sure that adversities become injustice, that inconveniences become humiliation, and that every discussion becomes betrayal. And the problem is we do not want to let go. If we cannot be special here, then we will be special there. We will have the most special obstacle of the entire world. No one else has this obstacle but us. That is how important we are. This triangle, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't come from a theory book. It comes from my life. Because why do you think I had 2 burnouts and not 1? Very simple. The first burnout I had, it was a special burnout. The most special burnout in the entire world. I know other people had burnouts as well, but not as special as mine. So there was only for me to wait. Wait for my relapse, wait for this second burnout to come. And when it was there, thank God, this is gonna sound very strange, but thank God the second burnout hurt even more than the first one. Because only when the pain was big enough, only then was I ready and willing to give up my specialness. And only then could the process of recovery begin. Because this is so destructive, I want to do something about this triangle. And I want to do something about it on this axis and on this axis. Okay. Just imagine for a second that I'm right. That we actually are unimportant. And I know this is kind of hard to believe in today's world where it's all about yelling and advertising, especially about yourself. But just imagine for a second that we are actually unimportant. Then this has some major advantages. The first thing is this one. If you are unimportant, well, then your mistakes are unimportant as well. Don't go thinking so much, just do and dare to make those mistakes. If you don't matter, neither do your mistakes. And this is very good for people with failure anxiety. Well, 95% of our people. Second advantage of unimportantness is this. If you are unimportant, well, then your choices are also unimportant. Don't go thinking so much, hours, months, years and hesitating. No, make the choice. Make the decision. You are not that important. Your choice is not so important. If you don't matter so much, neither will your choices do. This is very good for people who have choice stress or indecision. Again, 95% of our people. And lastly, but definitely not the least important, no, it's this one. If you are unimportant and you then not strive for this tip of the iceberg anymore, you don't run into all those obstacles. 90% of problems in your life will disappear like snow in the sun. I mean, obstacles remain just little obstacles. Inconveniences remain inconveniences. Adversities will remain adversities. And discussions will be just discussions. Nothing more. That's it. 90% of your problems will disappear because you are unimportant. Oh, lovely. And what about this movement? We bring the cause of our obstacles externally. And I do have to agree with you that external objects, like traffic and the weather and the policies and the government and colleagues, you don't control those and they have an impact on your life. I fully agree. But imagine for a second that just, 1% of the problem is you. You are 1% of the problem. Then that has another big advantage. Because if you are the problem, you are the solution. And basically, that is what you want. Because these external objects, ladies and gentlemen, we cannot control them. If the problem is there, well, then we're screwed. We cannot do anything about it. If the problem is here inside of us, we can do something about it. We can solve it. And make sure you solve this problem. You do not have the most important problem and most special problem in the world. No, solve your problem. Don't make it more special than it is. Okay. And I now want to emphasize this ego and unimportance stand. And I will do that giving you a nice example, and that is the example of George Marshall. Let's go back to the Second World War. And during the Second World War, George Marshall was the Chief of Staff of the United States Army, the highest position. During the course of the war, the decision had to be made by the president who was going to lead the troops in Europe, starting with the landing in Normandy. There was only one name that everyone whispered, and it was George Marshall's. He deserved it, he was definitely capable of it, and also he himself, he wanted it. It was a very prestigious position. But when the president asked him, George, what do you want? He simply answered, well, Mr. President, the choice is entirely up to you. Whatever I want is of no relevance here. And by doing that, he let this position slip because it went to Eisenhower. All he had to do, all George Marshall had to do was say, yes, yes, Mr. President, I want this position. And the president wouldn't have dared to refuse him because he was so respected. But he didn't. George didn't because he knew that it doesn't matter what you've done. You don't deserve anything at all. But the president, he wasn't stupid. No, because he wanted George at the position where he was, Chief of Staff. His assignment was organize the American war machine. Make sure Eisenhower can continue to fight in Europe. And this amazing war machine, ladies and gentlemen, it outproduced Germany 50-1. 50 times more planes, tanks, guns, material, whatever. That was a battle and a war that Germany could never sustain and could never win. But this work, assembling planes, assembling tanks, and organizing the whole lot, well, that is boring, that is insignificant, that is annoying, that is inglorious, and you will definitely never, never, ever get a medal for it. But that is the work with which the war was won, and that is why George focused on this work relentlessly. George Marshall, he was known for his integrity. Because he didn't strive for the fame and the honor. He did not have a reputation to protect. No. So what he did was, he never lied. Never. He always said what needed to be said. And more importantly, he did what needed to be done. That's it. And that was the reason why he was on that important position in the first place. That was the reason why he was so successful there. And thank God, that's also the reason why they won the war for us. And I'm saying this to you because if you look at your own lives and you look at your own careers and you see that it is boring and annoying and insignificant and inglorious and you will never ever get a medal for it, then you are on the right track. That's it. That is the work which is needed to win the war. And war is a business like any other business. What is applicable there is applicable everywhere. Continue with that work. George, he was the absolute embodiment of anti-ego because he demanded the following thing for his own funeral. I don't want a state funeral, to what he was definitely entitled. I do not want, or I want the shortest possible church service. I only want friends and family invited. I don't want press invited. I don't want anything special. I want the most simple funeral of the entire world. Why? Because George Marshall knew that in the end, no one deserves more than those thousands of corpses that were pushed in the hole in the concentration camp. Important. What we find important today, ladies and gentlemen. Look around you. Our democracy, our freedom, our prosperity which we can enjoy today. Those things were not achieved in a lifetime. No, we needed hundreds of years and hundreds of generations and thousands of people to achieve this level we have today. Whatever one person can do and mean in this world will always be limited. And I want to end this presentation with a mind reading exercise. Because I think you must be thinking this by now. Tom, ego, we know it's all bad, but luckily we are humble and modest and it doesn't bother us. Okay, well, I believe you. But luckily there is a test. There is a test where you can test your ego, you can measure your ego, and you can see how big it is. It is 100% accurate and it is 100% free. The exercise goes as follows. Just go and stand in an ice cold shower. Whoosh. 1. The mind reading exercise continues, and I guess you might be thinking by now, Tom, fuck you! Fuck you! I'm not gonna stand in a fucking ice cold shower. Are you crazy? Fuck you! Okay. Just add up the number of times that you said fuck you in your head. And that is the exact size of your ego. Because, hey, do you deserve hot water? Well, there are 1 billion people on this planet who do not even have running water at their homes. No, you do not deserve warm water. You deserve nothing. The perfect test to measure your ego and also learn how to diminish it a bit. Thanks for your attention in this ego presentation. Next presentation, the 6th and last one of this series, I will be discussing ourselves, what a true CEO does with himself, and also indestructible happiness. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for your attention and ciao!